नमस्कार आपण समस्त को यह वीडियो बहुत बहुत स्वागत। तो आज वीडियो हम देखा +3 पॉलिटिकल साइंस ऑनर्स कोर कोर्स 11 यूनिट 4 जहाँकि जेएस मिल एंड कार्ल मार्क्स ऊपर रही। तो यही जो चैप्टर आम समस्त इंपोर्टेंट 1 मार्क्स क्वेश्चन डिस्कस करवा। आ पूर्व यूनिट 1 2 3 ऑलरेडी वीडियो बना सारी जॉइन देखना देखिपारे। तो चलते स्टार्ट करवा। तो फास्ट टाइम देखिए फिल इन द ब्लैंक्स रे किसी क्वेश्चन देखा। जॉन स्टुअर्ट मिल जहाँ को जेस मिल कहते वाज बर्न इन डेस ना जॉन स्टुअर्ट मिल वाज बर्न इन 1806 1886 रे जॉन स्टुअर्ट मिल बा जेस मिल जन्मग्रहण करते। मिल्स फादर वाज कौन जेम्स मिल। मिल को बापा ना है जेम्स मिल। मिल वाज डेस ऑफ यूटिलिटेरियंस। मिल वाज लास्ट ऑफ यूटिलिटेरियंस। मिल वाज फॉरमोस्ट ऑफ डेस ना मिल वाज फॉरमोस्ट ऑफ इंडिविजुअलिज्म। मिल वाज ए ग्रेट चैंपियन ऑफ डेस। मिल वाज ए ग्रेट चैंपियन ऑफ इंडिविजुअल लिबर्टी। ही वाज ए ग्रेट support on this ना he was a great support on doctrines on bentham doctrines को सपोर्टर थे लिव माने हमर मिल जेस मिल राइटिंग द प्रिंसिपल ऑफ पॉलिटिकल इकोनॉमी पब्लिश इन डेस ना 1848 रे तांकर जो प्रिंसिपल ऑफ पॉलिटिकल इकोनॉमी पब्लिश होतिला मिल कर बा जेस मिल कर। हिज वर्क माने मिल को वर्क कॉन्स्टिट्यूशन ऑफ on representative government was published in this na 1868 रे। Mill's famous book on liberty was published in this na Mill's famous book liberty was published in 1850 1859 रे on liberty publish होतिला। Mill divides individual action into this na two parts रे से भाग करथिले। that two individual action are this na two individual action are self regarding and other regarding। Mill considers this the freedom of thought and expression was necessary for the development of civilization na absolute। Mill considered absolute freedom of thought and expression was necessary for development of citizen good citizen develop पे absolute freedom of thought and expression रहबा दरकार। Mill considered state as a product of this ना Mill considered state of product of will of people। Mill considered this was the best government। Mill considered representative government as the best government for the proper representation of each section of society to its voting state। Mill advocated the system of proportional representation। Mill insisted disqualification for the voters na Mill insisted property and educational qualification for the voters। Mill considered private property as necessary for this of individual। Mill considered private property as necessary for good of the individual। Mill was dead to extreme socialism। Mill was adverse to extreme socialism। Mill is considered as days of great utilitarianism na Mill is considered as the last of great utilitarians। Mill has discussed about representative government in his book Constitution of Representative Government। Mill was died in 1778 तो 1878 1878 रे मिल को मृत्युवरण करथिले। नेक्स्ट आसी कार्ल मार्क्स। तो कार्ल हेनरिच मार्क्स डेस फिलोसोफर कार्ल हेनरिच मार्क्स जो जर्मन फिलोसोफर से जर्मन रे 1818 एडी जन्मग्रहण करथिले। मार्क्स वाज एन एडिटर ऑफ डेस न्यूज़पेपर। मार्क्स वाज एडिटर ऑफ रेन्स जैटुंग जहाँकि 1842 रो न्यूज़पेपर। मार्क्स obtained doctorate from this ना मार्क्स obtained doctorate from जीना यूनिवर्सिटी 1841 1848 जीना यूनिवर्सिटी कौन डॉक्टरेट होते। मार्क्स हैड फ्रेंडशिप विथ दिस मार्क्स हैड फ्रेंडशिप एंजल्स पर से कौन जो मार्क्सिज्म थ्योरी काढिबे। Communist Manifesto was published in this Communist Manifesto published in 1848 1848 रे Communist Manifesto कौन पब्लिश होतिला। मार्क्स बुक डैश कैपिटल was published in this मार्क्स बुक डैश कैपिटल is published in 1867 1867 रे 77 1867 रे डैश कैपिटल पब्लिश होतिला। मार्क्स was greatly influenced by days of Hegel। मार्क्स was greatly influenced by dialectic of Hegel। Marx borrowed days from the English classical economist ना Marx borrowed the theory of value and surplus value from the English classical economist। Marx built up his theory of state and revolution on the basis of the idea of this na French thinkers। Marx this is corollary of the economic interpretation of history na theory of class work is a corollary of economic interpretation of history। According to Marx, days is the chief determinant of value na labor is the chief determinant of value। Marx considered state as this na Marx considered state of class institution। According to Marx, the government is described as a days of modern state। According to Marx, the government is described as executive of modern state। The purpose of Marx revolution is to Abolish states and establish class and stateless na society na state and establish in a classless and stateless society. Marx considered religion as death of the people. Marx considered religion as opium of the people. The difference between the value of the works which labor produce and which he actually receives is called surplus value. According to Marx, the history of all hither to the society, the history of this in a class struggle. After class struggle, there is a victory of this. After class struggle, there is the victory of workers. Marx died in this. Marx died in 1888. 1883 ମାର୍କ୍ସ ମୃତ୍ୟୁବରଣ କରିଥିଲେ। ବର୍ତ୍ତମାନ ଆମେ କିଛି ୱାନ୍ ୱାର୍ଡ ଆନ୍ସର ଦେଖିବା। ତ ୱେନ୍ ଡିଡ୍ ଜେମ୍ସ ମିଲ୍ ବର୍ନ? 1806 ଇଂଲଣ୍ଡରେ ଜନ୍ମଗ୍ରହଣ କରିଥିଲେ। ତାଙ୍କ ପିତାଙ୍କ ନାଁ ଥିଲା କ'ଣ? ଜେମ୍ସ ମିଲ୍। ହୁଜ୍ ଡାଇଲଗ୍ସ ଆଣ୍ଡ ଡାଇଲେକ୍ଟିକ୍ ମେଥଡ଼ ଅଫ୍ ଏଣ୍ଡ ଡିଡ୍ ହି ଇନଫ୍ଲୁଏନ୍ସ ମିଲ୍? ନା ପ୍ଲାଟୋଙ୍କର ଡାଇଲଗ୍ସ ଆଣ୍ଡ ଡାଇଲେକ୍ଟିକ୍ ମେଥଡ଼ରେ ମିଲ୍ ବହୁତ କ'ଣ ପ୍ରଭାବିତ ହୋଇଥିଲେ। When did his writing on liberty publish? ନା 1859 ତାଙ୍କ on liberty publish ହୋଇଥିଲା। When did utilitarianism publish? ନା 1860 1863 utilitarianism publish ହୋଇଥିଲା। on liberty ଯାହାକି 1859 କ'ଣ publish ହୋଇଥିଲା ତାହା ହେଉଛି most important work on mill. How many part of individual actions are divided by mill and what are they? ନା two जो individual ର action self regarding and other regarding. What type of action can be interfered by the state? Na self-regarding. What type of freedom of thought and expression does Mill insist from human development? ଗୋଟେ ମଣିଷର ବିକାଶ ପାଇଁ କ'ଣ କ'ଣ ରହିବା ଦରକାର? ଫ୍ରିଡମ୍ ଥଟ୍, ଯେପରିକି ଆବସୋଲ୍ୟୁଟ୍ ଫ୍ରିଡମ୍ ଟାଇପ୍ର ଫ୍ରିଡମ୍ of thought and expression does Mill insist for human development. What is an instrument for the promotion of individuals' interest? Na state is an instrument for the promotion of individuals' interest. Which is the best government as Mill considered? Na representative government is the best government as Mill considered. In which form of government every section of the community must be represented proportionality? Na democracy form of government every section of the community must be represented proportionality. Okay, proportionally. What did Mill plead for? Na great weight in voting. What did he insist also qualification for the voters? Na property and education. Which type of voting did Mill advocate in contrast to the secret ballot? Na open or public voting type of voting did Mill advocate in contrast to secret ballot. What type of ballot encourages selflessness? Na secret ballot of encourages selflessness. Does Mill favor or against to the idea of payment of members the parliament? Na against. Okay. Who was an ardent follower of democracy? Na James Mill was an ardent follower of democracy. What is necessary for the good and progress of mankind? Na private property is the necessary for good and progress of mankind. When did Mill die? Na 1878 1878 Mill মৃত্যুবরণ করেছিলেন। Who did consider as the method most controversial political thinker? Na Karl Marx is considered as the most controversial political thinker. Where did Karl Marx born? Na Rhineland 1818 in Germany Karl Marx କ'ଣ ଜନ୍ମଗ୍ରହଣ କରିଥିଲେ। What is the profession of Karl Marx? ନା journalism. Marxର profession ଥିଲା ଗୋଟେ journalism ଥିଲେ ସେ Marx. What was the most important works of Marx? ନା Communist Manifesto is most important works on Marx. When did Communist Manifesto publish? ନା 1848 ରେ ଏଇଠି publish ହୋଇଥିଲା। When did Marx written Das Kapital publish? ନା 1867 ରେ publish ହୋଇଥିଲା। Who did view that nature was dynamic and moved on zigzag way? ନା Hegel viewed that nature was dynamic and moved on zigzag way. Where did Marx borrow the idea of the theory of value and surplus value? An English classical economist. Where did he got the idea of class war and revolution? Na French thinkers got the idea of class war and revolution. Communist Manifesto was jointly drafted by whom? Na Communist Manifesto jointly drafted by Karl Marx and Engels. What do you mean by the development of history through the process of thesis, antithesis, and synthesis, and ultimately reaching the highest form? Na dialectical materialism. What is the actual application of the principle of dialectical materialism to the development of society? Na historical materialism. What is the most important of the all human activities? Na production is the most important of all human activities. What is the reason of the progress of society for one stage to another? Na law of history reason the progress society for one stage to another. What is the result of a class between capitalist and proletariat? Na class society emerge is the result of a class between capitalist and proletariat. which is the logical corollary of history theory of which theory of economic interpretation of history and theory of class war is the logical corollary of history theory of economic interpretation of history. How does the capitalism come to an end? Na revolution capitalism come to end. What is the chief determinant of value? Na labor is the chief determinant of value. What is the extension of Marx labor theory? Na Marx theory of surplus value is the extension of Marx labor theory. What do you mean by the difference between the exchange value of a manufactured commodity and amount paid to the workman for his labor? Na surplus value. Surplus value mean by the difference between the exchange of value and manufactured commodity and the amount paid to the workman for his labor. तो इतला यूनिट 1 रो किछि यूनिट 4 रो किछि 1 मार्क्स क्वेश्चन नेक्स्ट टाइम 2 मार्क्स क्वेश्चन डिस्कशन करबा. थैंक यू टू ऑल फॉर वाचिंग दिस वीडियो. जो माने कि यूनिट 1 2 3 ऑलरेडी जो 1 मार्क्स क्वेश्चन वीडियो मु बनै सारछि आपण देखि नांती ताहले आपण प्लेलिस्ट रे देखि पाबे. थैंक यू टू ऑल फॉर वाचिंग दिस वीडियो.